Hello once again, and welcome to the European Soccer Show. With me, as ever, is the very lovely and the very French Leo. Leo, how are you today?
Hello, Daniel, my English friend. How are you?
Not as English as you think. My family's
Oh,
Scottish. I just happen to be a fake Scot.
okay.
Yeah, I'm good. Before coming live, we were just talking about how excited we were that the Champions League semi-finals are coming up. But my goodness, we probably don't have time to talk about that on the show because we have so much to cover from this week. My goodness me. We had cup competitions in basically every single country apart from Spain. And then instead, Spain had another round of fixtures in midweek. So a lot to cover. So let's dive straight in. No highlights, no preamble. Get in there. Right, let's start off in England, where we'll do the league first. So earlier on in the week, Brighton held Chelsea and beat them 3-0. Brighton 3, Chelsea 0, which led to the sacking of Liam Rosenior. An astonishing result for Brighton, which also means that they leapfrog Chelsea. And spoiler alert, Brighton are now in 6th place and are currently in prime position to qualify for Europe and even a potentially unlikely extra Champions League spot. But the first thing to talk about here was was this the right choice to fire Liam Rosenior, or is this just further evidence of the cluttered thinking at the top of Chelsea? Because this was quite messy.
Yeah, it was a disastrous performance from Chelsea away at Brighton. And I think even if there are a lot of things not going well at Chelsea, there were no other choice than sacking Liam Rosenior. Even if he had interesting debuts, I don't remember exactly how many games he won at the beginning of his mandate, but the recent form of Chelsea, the Champions League elimination, and the way they play, not only the result but the thing they are showing. Obviously, maybe the step was too high for him because he just came from Strasbourg, where he had some troubles this season, and taking over at Chelsea, a Chelsea side with a lot of problems too. It was maybe
We
too
should
too
probably
big
say as
for
well,
him.
it's almost like not. It may well have been too big for him because obviously in the scheme of things, an incredibly interesting young coach who highly
Yeah,
regarded and he did a very good job at Strasbourg despite the troubles this year.
yeah,
But there is a bit of a leap from sort of like European chasing French team to Champions League winning Champions League and big trophy chasing Chelsea. But even still, but on the flip of that, he was also a Blue Co man, as is widely regarded. The fact that Blue Co, much like a lot of players, they stole him from the sister club, but the feeder club that is Strasbourg for Chelsea. So it feels like he couldn't win regardless. He didn't have a big enough profile to deal with the players. He didn't seem to have a big enough profile to impress the fans. And also he was seen as just a yes man part of the company. So it feels kind of a shame, doesn't it? Because an exciting young coach, basically, he had no chance, did he?
it's difficult to say given the season Chelsea are having. We remember what was Enzo Maresca's um, early season difficult too, because and when Rosenior left Strasbourg to Chelsea, he also bring with him Mamadou Sarr, the Chelsea
Yeah.
defender, who is having a tough time in London. So yeah, it's been difficult, and it emphasizes mistakes from Bluco because maybe I don't know why, but all the Chelsea project right now seems a failure
Mm.
because of their eighth place in the league, their difficulties in Europe. We will talk about that maybe later, but the FA Cup may be their only salute this season, so there is
Yes.
a
You
failure.
spoiler alert. Yes, we should say so Chelsea did recover, managerless Chelsea. defeated Leeds United on Sunday. So Chelsea are in the FA Cup final, where they will face Man City, who managed to come from behind to defeat Southampton 2-1, which is a very good game. So a Manchester City-Chelsea final in the FA Cup, which I'm fairly certain no one gives a damn about. Right, okay, so elsewhere, midweek, really fun game between Bournemouth and Leeds United that ended 2-2, which also means that Leeds United are now on 40 points, which, apart from one season in the Premier League, 40 has always been enough to keep the team up. Is that lead safe? They may have been knocked out of the FA Cup in the semi-final, but that's 5 matches undefeated in the league. 40 points, 4 matches remaining. Do you think that's enough for Leeds?
Yeah, I think it will be enough for them, especially since they are 15th, but they could grab some points and go up in the table. I don't know what. Let me just check what fixture they will play.
Don't look. We're playing a game later. We'll play a game later. Don't look.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think they will manage to stay up, especially since there are 3 teams who will not win every games.
Well, speaking of winning games and relegation, on Friday, possibly the most surprising result of the entire season: Sunderland 0, Nottingham Forest 5. An insanely good performance from Forest, who scored 3 goals in the opening 20 minutes. I think it was 4-0 by half-time. Before a late Elliot Anderson goal gave them a 5th. And with that victory, Forest are on 39. Now, similar question, I guess, with Forest, because that's now, I think that's 6 games unbeaten for them, and 3 wins, 3 draws. So first of all, do you think Forest are also safe? Because we may have spoken about this last week. The other thing is, Vitor Pereira's sort of done quite a brilliant job, hasn't he? That's kind of gone under the radar a little bit. The fact that not only are they winning matches, but scoring goals, which was always the issue under Sean Dyche.
Yeah, it is. We remember that last week they scored 4 against Burnley, if I'm not mistaken. They will play a Europa League semi-final too. So their season could turn really, really well if they are to win a European Cup, for example, and manage to stay up after their difficult, to say the least, early season. So yeah, they're impressive, and moreover, because we are talking about the battle to stay up with last week's victory. Yesterday's this week's with 5 goals. They just improved their goal difference, which could
that's a big thing, isn't it? Absolutely. Yeah. It's a very good point. Elsewhere, so talk about the relegation candidates, and this is what the little game we're going to play. So actually, the 3 apart from Leeds, who I say drew and got to 40 points, Forest had 1 and got to 39, but also victories for West Ham United and Tottenham Hotspur won a game this year, their first victory in the league in 2026. But it's a strange thing because, yes, joy for Spurs fans, relief more than anything. But it's interesting because this win away at Wolves, 1-0, a late Paulinho goal winning it. But there is a couple of things to talk about this before we play the game. First of which, originally this game was billed as a must-win, simply because. But now, of course, with all the relegation rivals winning as well, it was a must-win for a different reason, wasn't it? Because, well, now it kind of, strangely, the win doesn't really mean much.
Yeah, but
it doesn't change their position. They're still in the relegation zone.
It doesn't, but a draw or lose at bottom table Wolves would have been
the nail in the coffin. Yeah. It would have been it, wouldn't it? You're absolutely right. Yeah.
And for, I don't know, 10 minutes maybe, they were out of the relegation zone.
Yes, so that's absolutely true.
Yeah, I think it shows them that they can go out of this race.
So, what the thing you're referencing, West Ham United, yes, it did take a late goal. Callum Wilson scoring a winner in the second minute stoppage time to give West Ham a 2-1 win over European chasing Everton. So here's the little game. So the bottom of the table, Leeds United are on 40 points, Forest 39, West Ham 36, and Spurs 34. So here's the little game. I'm going to give you the fixtures remaining for each team, and I want you to tell me how many points you think they'll get from the game. And I'm going to tally and see. I've already done it for me. Let's see for you. So we'll start with West Ham, because West Ham sees. Oh no, let's start with Leeds because they're probably the most safest. Okay, home to Burnley.
A win, so 3 points.
Okay, away to Spurs.
A draw.
Okay.
So 4.
Right. I'll also put that for Spurs. Home to Leeds, 1. Home to Brighton.
A draw, 2.
And finally, away to West Ham. But of course, in my head, Leeds have already survived by this point. So
I think, and they will lose this one.
It's interesting because Leeds actually they may not win many games, but they're so hard to beat. So yeah, I can probably possibly see another draw. But okay, say that. So in your opinion, Leeds will win 5 points between now and the end of the season, which is exactly what I said. So they'll finish on 45. Okay, cool. Let's do Forest. So Forest, they are away to Chelsea.
They will lose this one.
Home to Newcastle.
They will win this one. Sorry, but Newcastle are terrible.
Yeah. Away to Man United.
Lose at Old Trafford.
Home to Bournemouth.
A draw against Bournemouth.
So you agree with me? I said 4 points, which means that Leeds will finish on 45, Forest on 43. All right, so here we go, the big two. Or like the dangerous two. Spurs away to Aston Villa. Now, Aston Villa will be in the semi-final of the Europa League, so probably, and they are pretty safe for Champions League spots, where they may well be rotating.
I think Spurs will lose at Aston Villa.
All right.
Playing away at Villa Park is always difficult.
Yeah, I think I went for a draw. Home to Leeds, you already said that's a draw. Home to Everton.
I'll go with a win.
Yeah. And finally, away to Chelsea.
I'll go with a win too.
And this might be the last game of the season now because Chelsea in the FA Cup final, so that game has to be rearranged. So which one are you going for?
I will go with a Tottenham win.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're saying 7 points, which is actually the same as me. Oh, you and me, buddy.
That's true.
It all comes down to this. So if Spurs get 7 points, they'll finish on 41. So Leeds 45, Forest 43, Spurs 41. So West Ham away to Brentford.
They will win.
You think they'll win at Brentford? Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Home to Arsenal.
They will lose.
Okay, and away to Newcastle. Away to Newcastle.
A draw.
So you think they'll get 7 points, which means they'll finish on 43, the same as Forest. So for both of us, we both have Spurs going down now, looking at the last fixtures. But it's hard to see, isn't it, with Spurs? Sort of like even if they have to win 2 matches and just hope no one else, like West Ham especially, we just hope West Ham don't win because that's what's going to kill them. If West Ham win 2 of their 4 matches, they save. If Forest or Leeds win 1 match, they are now safe. It's amazing, like the consistency West Ham, Forest, and Leeds have generated at the same time that Spurs has fallen apart. And
don't forget just that Tottenham lose Xavi Simons for the remainder of the season.
Yes, and I was about to say that. So the victory away at Wolverhampton Wanderers may have come at an even greater cost because Xavi Simons, not only is he missing the season, he's out of the World Cup as well.
Yeah.
But also Dominic Solanke got injured as well. So suddenly with Spurs finally win, but their last creative attacking midfielder is now done for the season. You got to wonder, like, where is this going to come from? But we should move on. A quick word on the title race because briefly Manchester City did go top of the table because they won 1-0 at Burnley with Erling Haaland getting the only goal. But then on Saturday, Arsenal defeated Newcastle 1-0. Shush, nothing from you. But a brilliant goal from Eberechi Eze. So Arsenal back on top by 3 points, though Man City with a game in hand. Elsewhere, Fulham defeated Aston Villa 1-0. Liverpool defeated Crystal Palace 3-1. Which also means that Man United, Liverpool and Aston Villa are all on 58 points. And then there's an 8-point gap between them and Brighton with only 4 games left. It does feel that the Champions League is now sealed, doesn't it?
Yeah, I agree. I think the 5 spots are now known. Manchester United could even go up to 61 points
Sorry,
tonight.
you're absolutely right. They play
Yeah.
Brentford at home tonight. You're absolutely right.
So I think they are all safe
Yeah.
concerning the Champions
Although
League.
something that I think you brought up last week or the week before was there is a potential sixth Champions League space if, and it's a big if, Aston Villa finished fifth and win the Europa League, then the team in sixth place will get Champions League football, which currently is Brighton, but also Bournemouth are 1 point behind them. 1 point behind them are Chelsea, Brentford, and Fulham. 1 point behind them are Everton's. So suddenly all these teams that are just chasing any European spot now
Yeah.
it's actually it is feasibly possible. But we should move on from the Premier League. Oh my God, that was a lot to get in there. And it's only going to get tougher because, we'll go to Italy first. That'll be a breather before the relentlessness that is Spain. In Italy, we'll talk about the Coppa d'Italia first, shall we? Because in midweek, what a game between Inter and Como. Como led 2-0 and were half an hour away from getting to the final, but a brilliant comeback saw Inter win 3-2 with goals from 2 goals from Çalhanoğlu and 1 from Sucic. So Inter are through to the final, chasing a domestic double. Do you give sort of credit to Inter for being able to come back? Do you give credit to Como for trying? What's the story of this one? Because it feels like just like the bigger dog won.
No, I want to give credit to Inter for the victory. First, because it's kind of impressive. Hakan Çalhanoğlu delivered during the game a very brilliant performance with 1 goal and two assists. But moreover, I think it's worth remembering when last summer they appointed Chivu on the bench. There were questions about this decision because he never lead a team like Inter.
And also we should point, and also on that point, the fact that the performance at the Club World Cup was really disappointing. Like not getting off to the best of starts, especially after taking over from Simeone.
Yeah, I agree. But even if the Club World Cup and the Champions League, it's obviously a disappointment for fans. But to be sure of being crowned Serie A champions with 10 points more than second place Napoli and AC Milan, to be on the route of a domestic double. It's a very good season, first season for Chivu. And
actually, you make a really good point, actually, that the lack of experience in this position may well have overwhelmed other people, but he seems to be a natural in that role. So Inter are through to the Coppa Italia final, and they will face Lazio. Lazio drew 1-1 at Atalanta, with Lazio going through 2-1 on penalties. So an Inter-Lazio final. A quick word on Lazio, because of course Maurizio Sarri, it feels like they've gone under the radar slightly this season, because of course they started with the transfer embargo, really poor start to the season, but Sarri not under much pressure because of the limitations put on him, and yet Lazio have beaten some of the big boys this season and through to a cup final. He's done a really surprisingly good job considering the problems the club has had.
Yeah, and the context with the fans, as they were angry about their management and all the clubs. So I think for Lazio, winning the cup is important. It would allow them to finish the season on a high. A difficult season because we have to note that they are currently 9th in the league. They could end up 10th. If Sassuolo were to win, so they need this Copa just to show their fans they are ambitious and they can achieve things even if they had a difficult summer and a difficult season.
So that'll be an interesting final. You got to imagine Inter are the heavy favourites.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Serie A specifically, and I hope you're a fan of clean sheets because there's a lot of them. First of all, we'll talk about the relegation battle because very much is mostly between Cremonese and Lecce. Lecce are out of the relegation zone after an intense and brilliantly fought 0-0 at Hellas Verona. It does feel like a bit of a missed opportunity not to win, but 0-0 at Hellas Verona, while Napoli defeated Cremonese 4-0. So Cremonese dropped beneath Lecce, and so on goal difference. So now Lecce have a one better goal difference than Cremonese. This is a bit of an unhappy, 1 point and 1 goal beneath Lecce. It feels like a bit of a miserable relegation fight, doesn't it? Because neither team are actually winning. It's not really much of a fight. It's more of a stumble drunkenly over the line.
Yeah, it's not about the better team, but
don't do quite as bad as the other team.
Yeah, that's right. We've talked about this battle for weeks now, and it seems like, and I don't remember when both teams won, even if Cremonese won in
about 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, something like that. So it's a really poor battle. Not, for example, to compare with Premier League, it's not as exciting as it is in England, but I don't think Lecce's fans or Cremonese's fans.
It's just tense. It's just it's just tense.
Yeah, 1 point at that stage. 1 point is very important, and for Lecce, even if they could have hoped to win against Verona, they should be satisfied with the one they have hand, and that's everything.
We should probably mention the Champions League race. As we said, Napoli won 4-0, so that means they are back in second place above AC Milan, who hosted Juventus. The build-up to this game was enormous. AC Milan against Juve, exciting, fireworks, evening kickoff, last match of the weekend on a Sunday. 0-0, utterly miserable. But paired with that, Como found some form again. They got over their loss in the cup to defeat Genoa 2-0 in Genoa. Elsewhere, Roma went to Bologna at 1-2-0. Really good win for Roma. So those two victories mean that Juve in 4th and Roma in 6th are now only separated by 3 points. With 4 games left, it really can be any of them, can't it?
Yeah, it can. And one wonders what we can wonder what Roma's season could have been if they had a consistent goal scorer throughout the campaign,
like Daniel Marlin at the start of the season as opposed to in January.
Yeah, because he's having an exceptional loan. He has now scored 12 goals and provided 2 assists in 16 games. All competition, so he's proving very decisive for himself and for Roma this season. I read something that he will be definitively a Roma player during the next transfer window, so we can look forward to see his second season in Italy, but he could prove decisive on the final sprint, because yesterday, as you mentioned, AC Milan and Juventus, it's like they weren't interested in the Champions League qualification.
AC Milan do need to be careful. They are 6 points ahead of Como in 5th, but even still, you got to be careful. That's a bit too close considering where they were. Some other results to say: Inter actually threw away a 2-goal lead in Turin to draw 2-2 at Torino. Fiorentina and Sassuolo played out a 0-0, and Parma defeated Pisa 1-0, but then so does everybody. I've defeated Pisa 1-0. Right, so let's park that there and go off to Germany. Yes, first of all, let's talk about Pokal. So the semi-final of the German Cup. The first match, Bayer Leverkusen 0, Bayern Munich 2. Goals from Harry Kane and Luis Diaz. As we will discuss later, let's not talk about Munich right now because we will talk them about after the league match. But they are very much a machine. A fun, sexy machine. And the other semi-final, Stuttgart, came from behind to defeat Freiburg in extra time, 2-1. So it will be a Munich-Stuttgart final. And if I'm right saying Stuttgart are the defending champions, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
So that's, first of all, let's talk about the fact that Stuttgart, as well as still chasing Champions League football, have had consistent cup runs, which is fantastic for the club. and be able to try and defend the trophy win. But secondly, it's going to be a fun final, isn't it? Those are two teams that like to attack, that like to score goals.
Yeah, especially since it's been 6 years since Bayern Munich were in the Pokal final the last time. So
Is it
they will,
really? Gosh.
yeah, it was in 2020. So they will be eager to win this one. This season they have faced Stuttgart 3 times, so twice in the Bundesliga and once in the Super Cup, and they have beaten them on all 3 occasions, scoring 11 goals. So of course they are big favorites in this game, but it's a cup final with the Champions League. The fact for Bayern Munich is that they are already champions, so it helps.
As we'll discuss later, though, they may not have lost their
Yeah.
edge. But let's talk about the Bundesliga. Oh, let's talk about Bayern first, because they were at Mainz, and Mainz were winning 3-0 at half-time. So perhaps Bayern's edge was gone. Obviously, big rotation. Understandably so, a lot of competitions. And yet, somehow, from 3 goals down at half-time, they went to win 4-3. Goals from Nicholas Jackson, Michael Olise, another beautiful Michael Olise goal, Musiala and Harry Kane. So yes, as I mentioned, they are a machine. They are a fun, sexy machine.
Yeah, they are. They have scored 113 goals this season, which is obviously incredible. The second in the league, Dortmund, have scored only 65. So it's like 50 goals difference.
Yeah, there's only one team I can name that has scored more goals than Bayern Munich, but we'll get to that later.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't.
yes.
No, it's impressive and the perfect way to build confidence ahead of the Champions League
and as well as, I mean, we should say as well the fact that so many of the big hitters came on in the second half.
Yeah.
First of all, speaks about how high their level is, generally speaking, compared to the rest of the Bundesliga. But also the fact that they had the mentality of like, no, we've got this. 3-0 down. No, we can still do this. Anyway, elsewhere, teams chasing the Champions League. RB Leipzig defeated Union Berlin 3-1. Bayer Leverkusen went to Köln and won 2-1. A couple of goals for Schick there. Hoffenheim's turnaround, it continues. They went to Hamburg and won 2-1, while Stuttgart drew 1-1 against relegation-threatened Werder Bremen. Dortmund also won 4-0. Dortmund are just going to be second, aren't they? Which means that that's RB Leipzig's 5th win in a row. They stay in 3rd place, 5 points behind Dortmund, but 5 points ahead of 4th. So with 3 games left, it seems like Leipzig are almost there. But Stuttgart, so between Stuttgart in 4th and Bayer Leverkusen in 6th, just 2 points. So again, Stuttgart, Hoffenheim, Bayer Leverkusen, all of them sort of scrapping, continuing to find these wins when they need, even when they were previously in poor form like Hoffenheim. They see the finish line and they're all going for it.
Yeah, the losers of the weekend, they are Stuttgart, because they only registered a draw against Werder Bremen team. Yeah, which has nothing left to play this season. And it will be a tense race until the last match day, because as you said, there are only 2 points between 4th placed Stuttgart and 6th placed Leverkusen, so it will be interesting to watch.
I think maybe that gives a slight disservice to Werder Bremen, who with that draw means they are now 6 points ahead of the relegation playoff. Yeah. So they're very much like they're almost there. They can smell safety now, which is fantastic considering the precarious position they've been in throughout the season. Yeah. Elsewhere in the relegation fight, Wolfsburg hosted Borussia Mönchengladbach, and that finished 0-0, which means Wolfsburg are still 6 points from safety, but only 1 point behind the relegation playoff after St. Pauli went to Heidenheim, bottom of the table Heidenheim, and lost 2-0. So astonishingly, Heidenheim have won 2 of their last 3 matches. Now, with only 3 games to go, they are 9 points from safety, but they are only 4 from St. Pauli in the playoff spot. Could Heidenheim squeeze in there? They have better form than Wolfsburg, better form than St. Pauli. Or is it just a shame that they've left it this late to show a bit of fight?
I think they have a chance because the real deal now is not to guess who will stay in the Bundesliga. It's only to know which of St. Pauli, Wolfsburg, or Heidenheim will have the spot in the playoffs, because I think Hamburg are safe too. But you've mentioned Heidenheim's 2 wins in the last 3 games, but they are undefeated in the last 5. Sorry, they have only
One win, one loss.
one loss in the last 5. So their dynamic is really impressive, and I think only 4 points, trailing by only 4 points on St. Pauli.
Something else I should say is I believe St. Pauli, on the last day of the season, St. Pauli in the relegation playoff spot host Hamburg, who are 1 place above them. If St. Pauli just can get within 1 win distance, because they're currently 5 points behind, so 1 win and Hamburg not winning means that it is doable. But you've got to earn it. You've got to find that win before then, just to win it.
Yeah, of course.
The only other result we haven't mentioned in the Bundesliga is 1-1 between Augsburg and Frankfurt. Right, let's tottle off to Spain. Oh, there's so very many courses in this particular tapas. Right, so midweek, first of all, we'll talk about the midweek games and then we'll talk about the weekend games. So in midweek, first of all, well, actually, let's take the top 2 differently. So we'll discuss the top 2. In midweek, Real Madrid defeated relegation-threatened Alaves 2-1. Quite a painful victory. Really difficult, despite Alaves being so low in the table. Goals from Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. And then Real Madrid went to Real Betis and could only draw 1-1. Vinicius Jr. with a goal there. They conceded in the 4th minute stoppage time to Hector Bellerin, an equaliser there. So Real Madrid dropped a couple of points there, whereas Barcelona won both of their games. They defeated Celta Vigo 1-0. Lamine Yamal penalty, although he also went off injured in which he will now be out for the rest of the season, although reports do say that he will probably almost certainly be back for the World Cup. So there's that. And then they went to Getafe, a 1-2-0 with goals from Fermin Lopez and Marcus Rashford. So with that, Barcelona are now a whopping 11 points ahead of Real Madrid. It's kind of crept up on a little bit, hasn't it? That gap between the two, because it was always fairly close until about 6 weeks ago, and it feels like the mentality behind Real Madrid has just fallen apart. It feels like they're not actually. It feels like they've tapped out of the season, doesn't it?
Yeah. Today Barcelona are in the same position as Inter, because a win next week will guarantee them the title, even if we can say that they will be champions, even if they are to lose the next games. But Real Madrid, once again, it's a disappointing season for them. They have not won a single trophy for 2 seasons in a row, which is, for a club like that, kind of dramatic. And their results is not the most preoccupying thing. It is the way they play too. So they will need some changes in the summer, and it will be crucial for them, because they need
you do wonder. Sorry to jump in, but you do wonder who they'd be targeting, because they just went for Xabi Alonso, a young, inspiring young coach with great tactical ideas, something fresh, something new. But also the egos of the players seem to outweigh the personality of the manager. But if it didn't work, sort of like getting someone new with new ideas before, it surely wouldn't work now. It does feel like they need to get someone just with a big enough personality. But then who would that be?
I think to coach Real Madrid, you need to be first not even a tactical magician, but a man of restrooms. A man manager. So that's not quite a surprise to hear that they could be interested in Didier Deschamps, in Mauricio Pochettino, in Jurgen Klopp. They are, even if Jurgen Klopp, I think, is a better tactical manager than Didier Deschamps, for example. But they are,
that's a personality, isn't it? That
yeah,
can do it.
but they are men, for at least for Deschamps and Klopp, who have proved they can handle restrooms with a lot of egos and to win also, which is.
We should point out this is all speculation. Like, I mean, Klopp's been linked with Real Madrid a couple of times over the last month or so. But he's adamant that no talks are taking place, and he's happy in his job with the Red Bull organization.
So they desperately need someone who can handle the restroom, as did Zidane by his time, as did Ancelotti too.
The managerial market this summer is going to be fascinating. There's so very many high-profile coaches and managers that will be out of work or going in. Yeah, it'll be really, really fascinating. Right, let's talk about some other midweek stuff. First of all, let's talk about some relegation stuff, because obviously La Liga, the relegation battle is basically everybody in the bottom half, which is astonishing. First of all, bottom of the table, Real Oviedo. They've had a really sort of like spirited fight back in recent weeks, a few victories. In midweek, they drew 1-1 at home to Villarreal. They came from a goal behind to do that. But then at the weekend, they hosted Elche and ended up losing 2-1. So we do think that's now Real Oviedo out, because they are 7 points behind with 5 games to go. So that's probably one, but it was a good effort. But speaking of Elche midweek hosted Atletico Madrid, who had another red card.
One.
Elche won 3-2. This was winless Elche for so very, very long. Elche defeated Atletico 3-2 and then defeated Real Oviedo 2-1 in Oviedo. So, all of which means that Elche are now 4 points clear. 4 wins in the last 5 matches. Again, talk about a response. That's exactly what this has had. At the exact right moment, pulled themselves together and showed the quality that they showed in the start of the season.
Yeah, that's right. Elche got 2 moments this season, the early season and the end, which is the most important for them, because they weren't a team expecting to qualify for Europe at the end of the season. So they managed to win crucial games when it mattered, and they will be they should be rewarded for that with a place in La Liga for next season.
Other big things to say for the relegation battle in midweek: Mallorca and Valencia drew 1-1, so a point for each of those. Girona hosted Real Betis but lost 3-2. So Girona, despite obviously their resurgence at the start of the year, are being dragged back into that battle. At the weekend, they also went to Valencia and lost 2-1. So Valencia 4 points in their last 2 matches as well. But perhaps the biggest... and Alaves defeated Mallorca 2-1. So even Alaves got a win. So that's victories for basically everybody in the bottom half over the last couple of games, apart from Oviedo. And the big one, Sevilla. So midweek, Sevilla went to Levante, who are, again, own resurgence. Their 3rd victory in 4 matches, Levante. Defeated Sevilla 2-0, and then Sevilla went to Osasuna and lost 2-1, despite being 1 goal up with only 10 minutes left. Sevilla are now in the relegation places.
Yeah, and they are in more danger than ever, because if Levante beat Espanyol tonight, they will be 19th in the league, with 3 points from safety, and the 17th placed Mallorca.
We should also say they've won 1 match in the last, I think it's 8, but also their last 6 matches, that's 5 losses. It's not even fighting for draws and getting scrappy points. It's quite similar to Spurs, isn't it? A team of like significant profile and quality players, but it's the old thing of having players that are ill-equipped for relegation battle, right? If you're towards the top of the table, European football, that kind of thing, you have certain personalities and certain types of players that suit that attacking football, that kind of thing. But when your back's against the walls and you're having to fight and scrap for survival, those players may not have the same qualities or the same personality or the same characteristics, and actually are poorly suited for relegation battle. It's quite strange, isn't it? But it rings true.
But I do think, because you mentioned Spurs, I do think Spurs have a better squad than Sevilla. Sevilla, when you take a look at their men, they are mid players, mid-table players for the most of them. So not seeing them competing for European football is not a surprise, but it is to see them struggling for survival.
You mentioned Espanyol, who had until the turn of the year were having such a good season. They also need to be careful because they are currently only 4 points ahead of Sevilla with 5 matches left. They went to Rayo Vallecano and lost 1-0 in midweek, and as you said, they host Levante tonight. Again, it's one of those situations where anybody in the top, between like 11th, so Rayo Vallecano and 11th are 39. Sevilla in the relegation zone of 34. So we're talking about the entire bottom half of the table could still get relegated. But again, one victory, you may well be safe. But Espanyol have only won 1 game this year. So yeah, they have to be careful, don't they? They have to show something else.
Yeah, Espanyol, their last victory dates back to 22nd of December. So
they've not won any this year.
Yeah, no, they haven't. Ooh. So yeah, maybe they're
the Spurs. They're the Spurs comparison.
So yeah, if Levante are to win tonight, they will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 teams in only 5 points, with 5 games to go before the end of the season. So it could be dramatic.
Other things to say, just quickly round up La Liga, because obviously a lot of matches to get through. Midweek, Athletic Club defeated Osasuna 1-0. Getafe went to Real Sociedad and won 1-0. Getafe having a great old time of it, despite losing to Barcelona. Getafe are now 6th. And again, this is Getafe, who were, I think, bottom or second to the bottom over Christmas. So they're now 6th and chasing down Real Betis for a potential Champions League spot. Fantastic. Anything else to talk about midweek? No, I don't think so. The rest of the weekend, like I say, Alaves defeated Mallorca 2-1. Atletico finally won a game. Atletico Madrid having a funny old time because obviously their spot in the top 4 is so safe. They seem to do these rotations, and of course with the Champions League coming up, obviously their priorities elsewhere. But it does feel like they lose momentum. Do you think this is what happened with them in the cup final last week? Because obviously such a big match midweek against Barcelona.
Yeah.
But it does feel like they do kind of like blow hot and cold as opposed to having consistency.
Yeah, I agree. And against Athletic Club, this was an important win for Atletico because they needed to regain confidence ahead of their game against Arsenal on Wednesday. This was a team coming off 4 defeats in a row in La Liga and in the Copa del Rey final. So they desperately need to win this one, even if their 4th place is and has been safe for weeks now. So now it will be interesting to watch this game against Arsenal. And I don't think, because everyone says that this will be kind of a boring game, but I don't think it will be, especially the first leg being played in Madrid.
Yeah, Atletico no longer the defensive powerhouse.
Yeah.
Other ones to say, Rayo Vallecano and Real Sociedad played out a 3-3 draw. That was great fun. And Villarreal defeated Celta Vigo 2-1. Right, let's say adios there to the La Liga, and let's make a last stop in Ligue. League. Let's talk about the Coupe de France because big semi-final time. Lens, they may have tripped up in the title race again, spoiler alert, but they are through to a cup final. They defeated Toulouse 4-1, and they will face surprise package Nice. Nice managed to defeat Strasbourg 2-0 with a couple of goals from Wahi, despite the fact Strasbourg absolutely dominated the game. So a Lens-Nice final. Obviously, Lens are huge favourites. And at the time, I messaged you saying, I'll be so furious if Nice win something because they've been so bad all year. But this is a huge thing for Lens, isn't it? This is such an opportunity, like a real title challenge, potential trophy. I mean, what a wonderful achievement that would be. But they have to get it done because Nice have this disgusting habit of doing this.
Yeah, and it's kind of strange because Nice are proving to be a real thorn in this side, in the sides this late in the Ligue 1 season, because they have beaten Strasbourg in the Coupe de France. Last week they draw at Lille, who are running for the Champions spot. Yesterday they drew at Marseille, also running for a Champions League spot. So it will be a difficult game, even if I do think Lens are the big favorites, especially since they are not really in the title race now. So be careful for Lens to not have really real regrets by the end of the season with the title hopes, the Coupe de France and everything. So it will be an interesting one, and it could help Nice to make their season a good one with a Europa League qualification at the end of it.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, let's. Actually, that's a very good point about the European qualification. So into Ligue 1, I said Lens tripped up. That's because they went to Brest and drew 3-3. They actually did it brilliantly to come back. They were losing 3-0 at half time. Something similar happened last week. I think they were losing. Was it 3-0 last week? Yeah. So
2-0 Toulouse.
2-0, sorry. Yeah. So they are showing incredible fortitude and commitment to actually come back for these things. But this one proves as like a bridge too far. But they did draw on 3-3. Alan St-Maximin getting the goal in the 4th minute of stoppage time. But that, with 3 games to go, that is it now, isn't it? Despite the fact that Lens and Paris Saint-Germain will meet, even if Lens win, Paris Saint-Germain are still 3 points ahead with a greater goal difference. So, yeah. It was nice when it lasted, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, the season is now over, in my opinion. Even if Lens beat PSG in their risk radio. Oh, that's a difficult game, but you have understood me. I think it will be too difficult for Lens.
Yeah, we'll say that with 3 matches left, Paris Saint-Germain need to not win any of them and lose to Lens. So that's what we're talking about. Also, the reason being that Paris Saint-Germain went to Angers and won 3-0 with goals from Lee Kang-in, Moyulu, and Beraldo, and obviously they were heavily rotating before their match in midweek against Bayern. Oh, that's going to be fun. Elsewhere, good news for Lyon. Lyon hosted Auxerre and won 3-2, which means that Lyon are up to 3rd into the Champions League qualification spots. They're the big winners this weekend, aren't they?
They are.
Despite the fact that Lille won. I mean, we'll go over this shortly, but Rennes won, Lille won, but the big news was that Marseille did not. So, all of those teams leapfrogged Marseille. And Lyon, they're finding form just at the right moment. Sorry, refinding form.
Yeah.
Just at the right moment. It feels like they're ending well.
Yeah, but they will play Rennes and Lens. The game against Rennes next week will be a real final, because if Lens beat Rennes next week, they will certainly end up in the fourth in the top 4. They will play Lens on the final match day. Lens will be assured to be second in the league. They will be preparing their French Cup final, so it could be also an opportunity to grab 3 points. The season could be a real success for Lyon.
Yeah, as we said, Lille also won 1-0 at Paris FC, and Rennes defeated Nantes 2-1, finding a winner in the in second minute of stoppage time. So Lyon third on 57, Lille 57 in fourth in the Champions League qualifying spot, and 1 point behind them are Rennes. Like I say, some of the fixtures coming up, but the big losers this weekend were Marseille. Marseille hosted Nice, the aforementioned Nice, and they could only manage a 1-1 draw. Wahi scoring an equaliser for Nice with only a couple of minutes left from the penalty spot. Marseille are at risk of getting no European football, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Yesterday at the Velodrome, the fans were very hungry with a lot of banners and everything in the stands. But since Habib Bey appointment, Marseille have been terrible. The players seem to have let down the coach, and the season. The season is proving really terrible for Marseille with Champions League knockout, cup elimination. Now they are sixth in the league, at risk of losing everything. Even if they could be in Europe if Lens were to win the French Cup final, they could qualify for the Conference League. So, but the season is difficult for Marseille, and now the Champions League seems a distant dream for them.
Yeah, the only thing in their favour is, well, it was their goal difference, but even that's slowly going down. Like they still have the best goal difference, but it's now only a couple of across. Their goal difference is 2 better than Lyon and Lille. So yeah, the other teams to suffer were Monaco, who drew 2-2 in Toulouse. That was fun to say. But Monaco were again 2 goals ahead, threw it away. So it feels like Monaco's resurgence was wonderful. Like it really was impressive, but it does feel like they're returning to normal sort of thing. It feels like they've balanced out to what they actually are, which is a fairly average side.
Yeah, the final push is taking a dramatic turn because they have only picked up 2 points from their last 3 matches. They played against 2 teams with nothing left to play in the league, and one fighting for survival. So it's been quite poor results for them. Now they are unlikely to qualify for the Champions League now with 6 points trailing with Lyon and Lille. So they will only fight with Marseille and maybe Rennes for European place, but it's difficult for them.
One team that is ending the season well is Strasbourg, although they did lose the cup semi-final. They went to Lorient and won 3-2, despite the fact they were losing 2-0, finding a winner in the 9th minute stoppage time. Great preparation for their conference semi-final coming up. And the game of the weekend, obviously, bottom of the table, Metz went to Le Havre and drew 4-4. Fantastic match. It was 1-0, then 2. Le Havre led 4 times. 4 times they had the lead, and Metz fought back every single time. So that was very fun. Right, so that's the end of Ligue 1, and that is also the end of our European League roundup. So what remains? Well, the things we may have missed. It says 3 things we may have missed, but I'm not going to lie, I have a lot.
Okay, that's cool because I only have 1 this week.
You're not allowed, if it's not allowed, if it's the Vanarama National.
No, it's in Italy's 7th division.
Oh, tell me, please.
Because we have talked many times about the fact that 2 teams in Serie A could end up with the same amount of points and be playing on a neutral ground in the final to decide the champion. And it happened. It will happen in the 7th division in Italy with the Trigiano Calcio and Ideale Bari, who finished the season level at the top of the table with 58 points.
So is this Serie B then? Bari and Calcio?
No, it's in 7th. It's over teams from 7th. Yeah, oh no, 7th division. And I saw that and immediately think we should talk about that because it's funny enough.
Yeah, an actual playoff for a title. How many promotion spots do they have?
1, only 1, and
very tasty. Yeah. With that in mind, we'll talk about something I've got shortly. Other things you may have missed. If the city to be in at the weekend was New York, because there were 2 matches in New York and a combined total of 16 goals. New York City FC hosted Cincinnati, and that was a 4-4 draw. And New York Red Bull hosted DC United, which was a 4-4 draw. What a fun time to be in New York. In Scotland, Hearts won the Edinburgh Derby. Hibs had 2 men sent off. So Hearts are now 3 points ahead of Celtic with only 4 matches left. It could still happen, but Hearts do still need to face Celtic and Rangers. Rangers lost at home to Motherwell. In the Championship, there's, oh my goodness, this is an excellent. There's 1 game left. Apart from there's 1 extra match, apart from one. Currently, there's only 1 team promoted, Coventry, who have won the championship. Second, Ipswich Town will play Southampton tomorrow, something like that. And if Southampton win, then you've got 4 teams separated by 1 point, all of whom could get promoted to the Premier League. You're very, very excited. But if Ipswich win against Southampton, then they're up, basically. But the other thing to say, for those of you following Wrexham, with 1 game left, Wrexham are in the playoff spot. They are on 70 points. They're ahead of Hull City on goal difference, and they will play promotion-chasing Middlesbrough on the final day. They'll host them at the Stocky race ground. So, yeah, Wrexham potentially 1 win away. Well, they are 1 win away from the playoffs for the Premier League. That's very exciting. Elsewhere, the Women's Champions League semi-finals played. The first leg, Bayern and Barcelona drew 1-1. Arsenal defeated Lyon 2-1. Oh my goodness, what else to tell you? There's so much to tell you. Elsewhere, I just thought this was quite an interesting thing. In the women's, regional tournaments, the Essex is a county in England, the Essex Women's Cup final played. #United, one of the best funded women's team in the game, or rather, comparatively. Do you want to have a guess who they played in the final? The only other team with any funding in the whole of Essex?
No, tell me.
Their reserve team. So yes, they met each other in the Essex Women's Cup final. So #United played #United reserves, which speaks volumes about the fact that the only club willing to put any money into the women's game in the region. And the last thing to talk about, if you didn't see this, the finale of the Vanarama National.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. We've been talking about this for weeks. For those who've been following, York City and Rochdale, miles ahead of everybody else, facing each other on the final day of the season. Rochdale versus York City. York City just needed a draw to go up. Have you seen this, by the way, the details of this?
I just saw the footage images of the
footage. The footage is just astonishing.
Yeah,
and I would put it out there that this may be the best ever finale of a season. Partly because the top 2 very rarely face each other on the last day of the season. But in this case, because there's only 1 promotion spot from the league. 0-0 going into the 90th minute, and in the last minute of stoppage time, Rochdale scored. The whole of the stadium, erupts, fans flooding onto the pitch invasion. Everyone's going absolutely mad, crazy. Some of them are interrupting some of the York City players, all of the stuff, and they are up. Thing is, slight issue. It took so long to take everybody off the pitch. There was still a minute to play. And obviously a lot of time added on. So yeah, they had to wait till everyone's off the pitch. We're now into the 13th minute of stoppage time before play could restart. And with basically the last kick of the game, York City equalise. And then cue a second pitch invasion from different fans. It's
that's so funny.
I don't think I've ever heard of a situation where you had 2 separate pitch invasions. Absolutely astonishing. So yeah, that was the finale. If you haven't seen the footage, go and find the footage. It is genuinely unbelievable. Now, and also you may have missed this. Sorry, there's a lot for this. You may have missed 1 tier below them. So this is now the 6th tier of football, English football. The Vanarama National North. What would be the complete opposite of Rochdale and York? 2 pitch invasions. What do you think would be the complete opposite?
No fans at all. They just went
So here's the thing. So we had 2 teams facing each other, and they both got relegated. So it's this cruel thing where a victory would have saved either of them, and then the home team were winning until the 9th minute of stoppage time when the away side equalised. At which case, the final whistle blew, and all sets of players just collapsed on the floor. So it's like they equalised, and it was completely pointless. And in fact, it just ruined the other team. So yeah, so
like I feel you, bro. I feel you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. My goodness me, that was a lot to cover. Yeah. So that's it. I thought that's what we end on. So it's now the end of the regular season in some leagues. It's so much fun at this time of the year, though, isn't it? The business end, the end game. But speaking of end game, that's where our game will end, and we'll call it time for today. Remember, if you ever want to get in touch or you want to see more of the stuff, follow us on X, follow us on YouTube. Feel free to send comments and stuff like that towards us, especially during the live stream, because we'll try and answer it throughout. But yes, my goodness, it's going to be a big week again. Champions League football. Other European football. Leo, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Daniel, for everything. Thank you for everyone watching us. I can see we are 95 live, so thanks to all of you.
Yeah, have a great week, everybody. Like I say, if you haven't seen it, go and find that footage between Rochdale and York. It is chef's kiss. Terrible chef's kiss. Have a great week, everybody. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great week.